Listen. Beneath the surface of all things, there is a rhythm. It hums through galaxies and oceans alike. It beats within your chest, within the silence between breaths. This is the hidden pulse of the universe, what the ancients called the law of rhythm. The Hermetic masters spoke of it as an eternal tide. Everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. To them, existence was not a static creation, but a living symphony of motion, an endless dance between rise and fall, light and shadow, fullness and retreat. From the smallest atom to the grandest star, all follow the same invisible tempo. Creation expands, and then contracts. The pendulum swings forward, and back again. Yet we, the children of this rhythm, so often resist its flow. We cling to the peaks, fearing the descent that follows. We chase the light, forgetting that night is its sacred counterpart. But rhythm asks us to trust, to see that the downward swing is not a punishment, but a preparation. Winter does not end life. It protects the seed until spring. Imagine the cosmos as a vast lung, breathing worlds into being. Each inhale births a new cycle of experience. Each exhale gathers all things home again. This breath is not confined to stars or seasons. It moves through you, shaping your moods, your energy, your very sense of purpose. When you feel expansion, joy, creativity, inspiration, you are the universe inhaling through you. And when contraction comes, silence, stillness, uncertainty, you are the universe exhaling, clearing space for what comes next. To understand rhythm is to remember that nothing is truly lost, only transformed in motion. All opposites are phases of one great movement. The wave that rises must fall, yet in falling, it returns to the sea from which it came. So as we begin this journey, breathe with the universe. Feel its pulse beneath your skin, steady and eternal. For once you sense this rhythm, not as theory, but as truth. You begin to move not against life, but with it. And in that movement, everything changes. From the stillness between breaths, the rhythm whispers an ancient memory. It has been known for millennia, encoded in sacred tablets, whispered by sages, and sung by civilizations that understood the cosmos not as chaos, but as divine order in motion. The Hermetic masters of Old Egypt called it the law of rhythm. They taught that the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. To them, this was not mere poetry, but a revelation, that the pendulum's movement governs all planes of being, physical, mental, and spiritual alike. Every rise carries the seed of its fall, and every fall conceals the promise of ascent. Even the sun must set before it can rise again. In the temples of Kem, initiates watch the Nile flood and recede, learning that life itself moved in sacred tides. Osiris died only to be reborn, his cycle mirroring the pulse of the land, the rhythm of existence itself. They understood that death was not an end, but a rhythmic turning of the cosmic wheel. Far to the east, the sages of China spoke of the same truth in another tongue. They called it yin and yang, the eternal dance of duality, the breathing of the Tao. When one expands, the other contracts. When one wanes, the other waxes. Harmony, they taught, is not found in stopping the motion, but in flowing gracefully with it. And in the vast vision of Hindu cosmology, rhythm becomes time itself. The universe awakens and sleeps in immense cycles called yugas, each breath of Brahman stretching across eternity. Creation, preservation, dissolution, again and again, in divine sequence. Every culture, every mystic, every seer felt the same pulse under 1,000 names. They were all listening to the same music, the heartbeat of the infinite. And if you listen closely, you will find that this rhythm is still playing, not in some distant heaven, but quietly within your own being. The ancients spoke of rhythm as divine law. Today, science echoes their wisdom through the language of vibration. For to modern physicists, as to the mystics of old, nothing in the universe stands still. Everything moves. Everything oscillates. From the smallest quantum particle to the spiral arms of galaxies, all creation dances to the same invisible tempo. When we peer into the heart of matter, we no longer find solidity. We find motion, vibrations weaving form from emptiness, particles blinking in and out of existence in rhythmic waves. This is not chaos, but cosmic music, a field of energy resonating through patterns of frequency. Every atom hums a note in the grand orchestra of being, and together they compose the harmony of the cosmos. Even the body you inhabit is a living symphony of cycles. Your heart beats with steady rhythm, translating cosmic motion into biological song. Your brain pulses with waves of thought, alpha, theta, delta, each frequency a language of awareness. The tides of your blood, the rhythm of your breath, the rise and fall of sleep and waking, all follow the same law that governs the stars. Scientists call them circadian rhythms, biological oscillations, quantum coherence. But beneath the terminology lies a truth that mystics have always known. Rhythm is the signature of life itself. When that rhythm falters, imbalance arises. Within the body, within the mind, within the world. To heal, then, is not to fight against rhythm, but to realign with it. To tune oneself back to the cosmic frequency. Even planets obey this sacred law, spinning, orbiting, precessing in vast celestial choreography. Their cycles shape the tides, the seasons, and the subtle movements of consciousness that echo through time. The same law that breathes galaxies into motion beats quietly behind your heartbeat. So science, in its precision, and mysticism, in its poetry, are not opposites. They are two languages describing the same song. The universe is not a machine, it is a melody. And to live in harmony with that melody is to awaken to your true nature, a being not separate from the rhythm, but a note within its eternal song. Just as the planets turn and the atoms hum, so too does the inner world of the human being move in rhythm. Your emotions, your thoughts, your inspirations, all rise and fall like the tides of the sea. There is a hidden current flowing through your consciousness, guiding each phase of your becoming. To live without sensing it is to struggle against the ocean. To awaken to it is to remember that you were never separate from its flow. There are days when your heart expands, when you feel alive, radiant, unstoppable. And then, there are moments when everything contracts, when silence and shadow take their turn. These movements are not flaws, they are the sacred breathing of your soul. The Hermetic Law reminds us, nothing stands still, and no state lasts forever. Joy and sorrow, inspiration and stillness, all belong to the same eternal dance. When you resist the ebb of emotion, you amplify its weight. When you cling to the high, you create the fear of losing it. But when you allow each feeling to move through you like water through open hands, you begin to experience peace. Not from control, but from surrender. Think of creativity, that mysterious pulse that visits and departs without warning. Artists, thinkers, visionaries. All have known this rhythm. The mind cannot endlessly expand. It must rest, withdraw, replenish its light before shining again. The decline of inspiration is not an absence. It is incubation. In the dark soil of stillness, the next vision begins to grow. The same is true in love, in growth, in healing. Relationships flourish and retreat. Energy blossoms and fades. Every phase is a teacher in disguise. The rhythm of life is not cruel. It is merciful, giving you time to breathe between each transformation. The Buddha spoke of impermanence. The Hermetic sages of rhythm both pointed to the same truth, that freedom is found not in escaping change, but in understanding its beauty. So when your emotions surge like waves, remember, you are not the wave itself, but the ocean that holds it. You are not broken in your changing states. You are alive, moving with the pulse of creation. And as you learn to ride this inner tide, you no longer fear its coming or going. You simply flow. The law of rhythm teaches that all things rise and fall. But hidden within that movement lies a deeper secret. The art of stillness amidst the swing. The Hermetic masters called it neutralization. They said, the master neutralizes the swing of the pendulum. Not by halting its motion, no one can stop the cosmic tide, but by learning to stand upon the axis, unmoved as the pendulum passes. Imagine the pendulum of your life, joy and sorrow, confidence and doubt, clarity and confusion. Each swing can feel overwhelming when you identify with the motion itself. But awareness is the still center, the quiet eye of the storm. When you rest in awareness, you discover that even as the pendulum moves, you are not its captive. You are the point around which it turns. Meditation becomes the practice of remembering this center. Each breath draws you inward. Each exhale loosens your attachment to the extremes. Through presence, the emotional waves that once seemed so powerful begin to lose their grip. You start to sense rhythm not as a force against you, but as a current carrying you home. The ancients knew that the pendulum must swing, but they also knew that perception determines experience. When you meet the downward swing with awareness, its heaviness transforms into rest, its darkness into gestation. When you meet the upward swing with humility, its light becomes clarity, not arrogance. Thus, the rhythm itself becomes your teacher, not your tormentor. The more you awaken, the more you begin to sense a divine balance behind all fluctuation. You no longer chase the high or fear the fall. You stand still while all things move around you. A witness to the dance, yet untouched by it. This is the mastery the Hermetic adepts spoke of, to remain serene in motion, to find stillness within time. For when the pendulum swings and you do not resist, you have discovered freedom not beyond rhythm, but within it. Just as the earth turns through its seasons, so too does the soul move through cycles of light and shadow, growth and stillness. You are not meant to bloom endlessly. You are meant to breathe, to rest, to renew, to experience the sacred rhythm of becoming. There are seasons when your spirit feels like spring, when ideas blossom effortlessly, and everything you touch seems to come alive. Then comes summer, when energy burns bright, when creation reaches its peak, and your purpose feels clear beneath the sun. But even the most radiant summer must give way to autumn, when the leaves fall and the world whispers, "Let go." What you release in this season becomes nourishment for the next. Then comes winter, the quiet descent, the sacred pause so many mistake for loss. Yet beneath that silence, Something holy is taking root. The soul withdraws not to vanish, but to gather light in the unseen. Winter is not an ending. It is gestation. Every mystic has known this truth. Persephone's descent into the underworld, Inanna's surrender of her earthly powers, the dark night of the soul spoken of by the saints. All are echoes of the same rhythm, a descent before rebirth. When you find yourself in your own winter, do not resist its stillness. Do not curse the quiet. The same rhythm that moves galaxies is at work within your being. Trust that what seems dormant is only preparing to rise again. To live in alignment with the law of rhythm is to live as the earth does, with reverence for every phase. To honor your spring's expansion, your autumn's release, and your winter's retreat as equally sacred. For when you accept the seasons of your soul, you no longer fear their change. You become the witness of life's eternal bloom, forever dying, forever reborn. To live in harmony with the law of rhythm is to stop fighting the current and begin to flow with it. Every moment of your life, every decision, every breath is part of a greater pulse. When you move with that pulse, life ceases to feel like resistance and begins to feel like music. Begin with the simplest of alignments, the rhythm of your day. When morning comes, rise with intention. Let the first light be a reminder of expansion, of the universe inhaling through you. Breathe deeply, stretch, move, awaken. This is the rhythm of becoming. And when evening arrives, do not fight its descent. Let the darkness guide you inward. Slow your breath, release your grip on effort, and surrender to rest. This is the rhythm of return. Your body already knows the cosmic tempo. It beats in your heart, flows in your blood, and whispers through your breath. When you eat, move, create, and sleep in sync with these natural cycles, you invite harmony to take root in every layer of your being. Even creativity itself follows rhythm, moments of inspiration followed by moments of silence. Do not rush the stillness, it is part of the song. To align with rhythm is also to listen. Life is constantly speaking in waves, expansion and contraction, invitation and closure. When doors close, do not force them open. Wait for the next tide to rise. When energy blooms, move with it fully, knowing it too shall ebb. This is not passivity, it is wisdom. The mystics called this surrender, but it is not defeat. It is an act of remembrance, knowing you are not apart from the flow, but one with it. To flow is to know. To resist is to forget. So live as the river lives, responsive, fluid, awake. Trust the rhythm that moves through all things, and you will discover that the universe was never against you. It was always teaching you how to move with grace. There comes a moment when the seeker no longer chases the rhythm, no longer clings to its rise, nor fears its fall. A moment when one simply watches, and in that watching, discovers stillness. Every wave, no matter how vast, is born from silence. Between each heartbeat, there is a pause. Between each thought, a space of infinite calm. That is where the true essence of the law of rhythm is revealed, not in the movement, but in the still point around which it turns. The ancients called this the axis of being. It is the eye of the storm, the unshaken witness, the eternal now. When awareness rests here, the pendulum may swing, but it can no longer disturb the center. Pleasure and pain, success and loss, they pass like clouds across a vast, unmoving sky. In truth, rhythm was never meant to bind you, but to guide you toward this realization. It teaches surrender, not as weakness, but as wisdom. For only when you cease resisting the tide, do you begin to feel what the ocean feels. No beginning, no end, only flow. Close your eyes and imagine that ocean. Its surface dances with waves, but deep beneath, the waters are still. You are that depth. You are not the motion. You are the silence that allows it to move. When you live from that center, time softens, fear dissolves, and peace becomes your natural rhythm. You no longer try to control the current. You are the current. You no longer search for balance. You are the balance itself. And in that sacred remembering, the truth of all rhythm is revealed. When you cease resisting the tide, you become the sea.